Next Sunday is Epiphany.
Yes.
Yay, we three kings of Orient. Frankincense, gold, and myrrh. And we'll talk about that next week. Today, we have the horrific follow-up to Jesus, meek and mild, lying in a manger, and the angelic host in the heavens singing to the shepherds, and that wonderful scene, go, the Prince of Peace, the wonderful Counselor, mighty God. And then in Matthew doesn't have so much of that happiness. Luke is the one that has all that happy Christmas stuff. Matthew presents a different take. He has the coming of the Magi, and they first, in their sojourning, they go to Herod, the king of the Judean region, and they say to him, where is he that is born King of the Jews? And we remember and we recognize in the familiarity of this text that strikes horror and terror in the heart of the current reigning monarch, King of the Jews. And he puts on this fake smile and interested look, and he says, go and diligently find him. And when you find him, come back and tell me where he is so that I too may come and worship him. We read in Matthew the sinister intent. We catch that flavor of insidiousness. Matthew gives us that. He offers that to us. And we're familiar with the story. The Magi get there and they present their gifts. And then in thanksgiving and in joy, they return to their home by a different way, because the angel warns them, don't you dare go back to Herod and tell him where the baby is, because they need time to escape. Okay. And the text here in Matthew goes on to say that the paranoid Herod has his armies come in and slaughter all the children in Bethlehem that are 2 years old and younger. I got to make sure I've covered all my bases, so I got to kill all those children. Because there can't be another king of the Jews other than me. And Matthew quotes Jeremiah, I believe. He quotes Jeremiah. And he says, a voice was heard in Ramah, wailing and loud lamentation. Loud lamentation. Rachel weeping for her children. And I think the verse that catches my heart right now and just holds it captive is Rachel weeping for her children. She refused to be consoled because her children are no more. Do each of us have the capacity to empathize with that? Being in a place in your heart and in your spirit and in your mind where consolation is the last thing you want to hear. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. I'm praying for you. Be comforted, knowing that it's gonna get better. Get the hell out of my face. Excuse me. I don't want to hear none of that. Right? Right? Because I think Jeremiah, when he wrote this, the power of these few words. I mean, Jeremiah wrote in his ancient time, he wrote, for they are no more. How many of us have lost someone or something and have been at that place in our hearts where we're in such a deep pit, we're trying to look up to see the bottom? Anybody know what I'm talking about? I mean, you're trying to look up to see the bottom. That is okay, so if indeed each of us can empathize and or have been in that place, not once, but probably many times, we remember the depths of that despair and hopelessness. Right? We do. We remember the agony of it. The agony of it. And so it's not surprising that those women of Bethlehem, the horror of someone coming in and grabbing my baby and in my face, kill it. Okay. That kind of stuff is going on like now.
Amen.
Guys, I mean, we listen to the radio and we look in the paper and we think about what's going on in Aleppo. I mean, the fact that this weekend, we were just talking about it a few minutes ago, that someone in a Santa suit walks in with a gun and walks into a place and just sprays the bullets. I'm really glad. I'm very, very glad that Matthew doesn't try to sugarcoat. Not that Luke is trying to sugarcoat it. Luke had a different theological agenda. Matthew is presenting to us both the beauty and the horror. Because indeed, my sisters and brothers, that is what life is. The realisms that we have to face from day to day. There are evil forces active in this world. There are violent forces active. There are tragic forces active around us. In our neighborhoods, in our cities, in our communities, in our streets, in our country, in our world. And so we have to, I don't want to say desensitize ourselves, but we have to kind of wrap our brains around the reality that this is a very chaotic and often dangerous world that we live in. Lest we be naive. Let there be peace on earth. We are the world. We are the children. Come on, lest we be naive, right? Which then makes it, okay, I need to, before I go there, the refusal to be consoled is what I want us to look at for a minute. The refusal to be consoled. I'm in my pit. I'm experiencing this overwhelming grief and sorrow, agony and pain and suffering. And I don't want to hear some kind of platitudes or puffery. So I'm in this place. David, I'm sorry, I gotta say this because it's what popped into my head just now. When I think of when your dad died, and what Lillian must have been feeling after 71 years of being with the same guy. You know, we all thought within months that she was gonna die too. We did. You know, what do you say to someone? And I think what we learned is that you don't. Sometimes you just sit and you hold and you listen to the loud lamentations and you join in the crying. Girl, you lamentate all you want to. Let me lamentate with you. And let's book tomorrow too. Let's lamentate tomorrow. How about on next week? Maybe even this time next year, let's lamentate some more. Note what I just said. Time is linear. Time has an amazing, miraculous way of healing, doesn't it? The moment of horror, the moment of despair, the moment of hopelessness, the moment of acute heartache, that seems like it will go on forever, look around you. We're all still here. Life has gone on. The tears still flow. The lamentations continue. But somehow, in the sporadically, moments of reminiscences happen. Remember when we were down the street and this funny thing happened with that loved one? And I remember that and the person we were crying loud lamentations with was sharing a laughing memory of that person with us, reliving a happy moment. Sporadically, those drop in, don't they? Don't they? My stove. Without intentionality, time has provided consolation. Hasn't it? Somehow or other, the morning comes. Our heart is still overwhelmed, but we roll out of bed and we make it to work. And we make it through that day, and we get ourselves a little something to eat. We wipe the tears from our eyes. We go through some photo albums, cry a bunch more, go to bed, get up the next morning, brush our teeth, comb our hair, go to work. Time. We as a Christian community, we rejoice and we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, his victory over death. And it gives us hope that death isn't the end, that indeed we have eternal life. And that eternal life, by faith, we believe exists, and it is for us and for all whom we love, right? And so, we can celebrate that on Easter. And we'll celebrate that we have that shared belief in those times when our hearts are ready to celebrate that. I ask you to embrace Rachel and the mothers of Bethlehem. I ask that we embrace them and that we hold them and that we sit down with them and shut up. Don't say anything. Don't. What words? Just sit and be God's love for them. Just be it. And then tomorrow, I mean, I could quote Psalm 30. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes. I don't even want to hear that one. Just sit with me here in the night. Just sit here in the night. Don't let something